Today I am going to talk about the story of King Parikshith, one of the characters in the Mahabharata. Parikshith comes into picture after the Mahabharata war, and the birth of King Parikshith itself is an interesting story by itself. It so happened Ashwatthama, one of the great warriors who was on the Kauravas side, was totally upset with Pandavas since they killed all the Kauravas in the Mahabharata war and later. Since Kauravas were the benefactors of Ashwatthama, Ashwatthama vowed the lineage of Pandavas should not continue. However, he understood at a later time that Abhimanyu, who is Arjuna's son, his wife by name Uttara, was carrying a child in her womb, which represents the lineage of Pandavas. Ashwatthama wanted to kill that child in Uttara's womb itself. So he took his most powerful weapon called Brahmastra and aimed towards Uttara. Uttara, sensing danger to her unborn son, who later becomes King Parikshith, sought the refuge of Krishna, who will protect the child. So in the womb itself, Parikshith faced a lot of issues, lot of threats. However, his birth was uneventful. He became the king. He ruled the kingdom wisely for nearly 60 years. He had a passion for hunting. He was very dharmic in his ruling, and the subjects were happy. Rains were plenty. There was all-round happiness in his kingdom with no threat from his enemies. And he conquered his neighboring small kingdoms and brought it under his control. So there was overall peace and prosperity in the King Parikshith's kingdom. When Parikshith reached the age of 60, one day he went for a hunt, as usual. He went for a hunt. On the way, he beheld a very strange spectacle. He saw on his way a cow which was crying, and a bull with a single leg, and one person, one ordinary commoner, common subject of his kingdom, dressed in kingly robes, who had a big stick in his hand, and he was beating the bull which had only one leg, with three of his legs already slaughtered. The king is quite surprised and angry at the same time, and he goes and stops the man from beating the bull. And he asks the bull, "Bull, who are you and why are you in this state? What has happened to your three legs? Why are you standing on one leg?" For which the bull says, "O Raja, O Parikshit Raja, you are the wise one. You know Dharma. You understand from your knowledge who I am." The Raja thinks for a while and he says, "Oh, okay, you are the embodiment, or you are the personification. You represent Dharma. And the four legs of Dharma are, which are mercy, truthfulness, cleanliness, and austerity, out of which three legs have already been cut off. Only you are standing on the leg of truthfulness. I understand." Then he turns towards the cow which was weeping and asks, "Cow, why are you weeping?" The cow replies, "I represent Mother Earth. I represent Prithvi. I represent Goddess Prithvi. I am crying because Dharma is being cut asunder. It is being taken away from this earth. As long as Krishna was alive, all Dharma was there. All the good things that were happening then are now vanishing. All the bad things which were not there during Krishna's time, they are all returning. And since I represent earth, I am weeping because the state of the earth is this now." Then Raja was really taken aback by all this situation, and he looks at that guy, and he clearly understands through his knowledge. He is the Kali, that is the one who represents the Kali Yuga, the next Yuga. He is the guy, he is the person who rules over Kali Yuga. So the Raja gets very angry at the treatment meted out by this Kali to that bull by cutting asunder three legs of Dharma. So he takes the Raja takes his sword from the sheath and goes towards him to kill Kali on the spot. However, Kali, clever as he is, shrewd as he is, cunning as he is, he falls at the feet of Raja and he says, Raja, don't kill me. Allow me to live. Then the Raja asks, why should I allow you to live? I will kill you on this spot. These adharmic activities which you are doing now should not happen in my kingdom. For which Kali says, see, the end of Dwapara Yuga is coming. It is ordained, it is foretold that there are 4 yugas and 3 yugas have already passed. Now this is Kali Yuga. I will be the ruler now. So I have to live. Don't kill me. The Raja understood. Okay, we will do one thing. As long as I rule this kingdom, don't step or come anywhere near this kingdom. You go away. You go away from this kingdom. Don't stay here. Kali says, okay, that is all fine, I will go away. But where should I stay now? Where should I stay? For which Raja says, okay, you go and stay in prostitution houses. Or you go to places where drunkards are there. Or you go to places where gambling happens. Or you go to places where animal slaughter happens. Or, and finally, go and reside in places where people hoard gold. This is the place for you till I rule. Kali says, okay, thank you. And he departs. Little did Raja realize the words he uttered were prophetic, because Kali came and sat on the golden throne of Raja. The Raja, King Parikshith, was wearing a golden throne. Since the Raja himself told that you can reside in gold, he came and sat on the golden throne of King Parikshith. And through that throne, he entered the mind of the Raja, and the Raja became corrupt in his thinking. So, we will leave the story here, and let now the Raja will continue his hunting. The Raja continues his hunting, and because Kali had entered his head, he becomes more aggressive and he kills a lot of animals. And while doing so, he spots a big and a beautiful deer which he wants to kill at any cost that day. And he goes on chasing that deer. And in the process, he gets separated from his entourage. And the Raja, chasing the deer, enters deep into the jungles. The deer goes on and he misses his mark every now and then. But finally, when the deer is about to enter an ashram, sage Shamika's ashram, the king pulls out an arrow from his quiver and aims and shoots it. As soon as the arrow touches the body of the deer, it just disappears into the ashram. The king is a little perplexed. Why? What happened? Where did it go? And tired and hungry from the long chase right from the morning he had, he comes to the ashram hoping that he get to know the whereabouts of the deer and also to get some refreshments there at the ashram. He goes around, the ashram is very quiet, peaceful, very calm, very breezy. He feels very happy to be in that ashram. And but he sees no human being around to help him out with his queries. Finally, he looks around and he sees sage Shamika, who is deep in meditation, sitting on a small pedestal. The Raja goes to him, prostrates in front of the sage Shamika, and he asks, "O sage Shamika, I am King Parikshith, the ruler of this kingdom. Did you by any chance happen to see the deer for which I was chasing, which entered your ashram and disappeared? And also, since I am tired and hungry, I need some refreshments." Sage Shamika was so immersed in his penance that he did not notice the king, the deer, he did not hear the words. He simply sat in silence, continuing his meditation. The king gets a little perturbed and little angry, and he says, "O sage, I am the king of this kingdom. The ashram is in this kingdom. Don't you have the courtesy to give me some refreshments and give me some information?" No response from the sage Shamika. And he looks around and he sees a dead snake. He pulls that snake from the tip of his bow and throws it around the neck of sage Shamika. in order to know whether Sage Shamika was really in deep penance or he was just pretending. But Sage Shamika, who was deep in his penance and meditation, is like, the king thinks, okay, there is no use asking this person, let me go back to the kingdom, and he goes back to the kingdom. In the meantime, Sage Shamika's young son of about 5 years, by name Shringi, he would have left the ashram, and after doing severe penance to Lord Brahma, he would have been blessed with some boons and gifts. Extraordinary powers he would have accumulated through his austeritic way of life and getting a boon from Brahma. Shringi, who was only a 5-year-old son of Sage Shamika, after getting the boon from Brahma, he was returning back to his father's ashram at that time. And while coming back, he met a group of his old friends, all 5-year-old friends. One among them was Krishna. So, being a boy, Shringi says to his group of friends, "Hi guys, see, I have done severe penance and I have got boon from Brahma. But you guys are still playing like small kids," for which Krishna, one of the friends, he gets quite angry and he wanted to irritate Shringi. And he says, "Oh, Shringi, you got a boon from Brahma, fine. But look at your father. Why, what happened to my father? Your father is sitting and meditating and with a dead snake around his neck. And you are here boasting about your powers. You could not do anything to that guy." Then Shringi asks, what happened? Who did this to my father? For which Krishna says, "Oh, that is a small story. King Parikshith came here in search of a deer and for some refreshments, and your father was deep into his meditation and he did not do anything. So he got angry and he threw a dead snake around your father to know whether he is really doing penance or he was just pretending. Go and see. Don't boast yourself. Go and see there." Shringi gets very, very angry. Just as powerful as his austerity measures were there, at the same time he was extremely angry and short-tempered boy. As soon as he listens to this, he says, "So, without any mistake on my father's side, King Parikshith did this to my father? He humiliated my father? Well, today, now I am putting a curse on King Parikshith. 7th day from now, King Parikshith will be beaten by Takshaka. Takshaka is the serpent king. He will be beaten by Takshaka and he will die 7th day from now." And he comes towards the ashram, being full of anger. In the meantime, Sage Shamika comes out of his trance and he sees the boy and he also sees the snake around his neck. And he will be surprised, how come a dead snake is around my neck? And he asks Shringi, "Do you have any information on this?" For this, Shringi repeats the whole story of how the Raja came, how he asked for directions, and how he threw the dead snake around you. Things like that. He says the entire story which he heard from Krishna. And Shringi adds, "Father, don't worry. My penance has not gone to waste. As soon as I heard that the King Parikshith has put a dead snake around you and he has humiliated you, I have pronounced a curse on him that 7th day from now he will die bitten by the Takshaka, the serpent king." Sage Shamika, he says, he ponders a little and he says, listening to his young son, "Shringi, what you have done appears to be wrong. You should have controlled your anger. You should not have put the curse on the king, because the king is a dharmic ruler. Because of him only, we are having this ashram. We can do the penance or meditation peacefully without any trouble from enemies or anybody else. So, he is a dharmic king. After all, I don't think King Parikshith did anything wrong to me. It was we who were wrong at the ashram, because when a king comes to the ashram and he wants to know some information and he wants some refreshments, it was our duty to give him, which we failed miserably. So, I think whatever curse you have put, is not good. You please take it away. Moreover, the king, if such a king is not there, all our dharmic, if he dies the seventh day, all our dharmic activities will come to an end. Adharma will rule, anarchy will come into the picture, and there will be total mess in the country, in the kingdom. So please take back the curse. For which Shringi says, Father, I do not know the dharmic part of this. Since you were humiliated as a son, I have pronounced the curse. And you know, this tongue of mine has always spoken the truth. And whatever I speak will come to pass. I cannot take back the curse. There is no way I can take back the curse. King Parikshith has to die on the seventh day. Shringi's father, Shamika says, yes, I know, son, you have done very powerful penance and your curse will come to pass. Okay, then at least we need to warn the king, and he has to make arrangements for the smooth transition of power and who the ruler will be. So he calls one of the disciples by name Gauravamukha. And Gauravamukha comes and Shamika says, please go and tell King Parikshith what all has happened in the ashram, the curse of my son Shringri to Parikshith. He has got only 7 days to live. Let him make the arrangements. Gauravamukha goes to the kingdom of King Parikshith. King Parikshith welcomes Gauravamukha since he has come from the ashram. He listens patiently to what all Gauravamukha has said. And then he gives him gifts, everything, and he sends him back. And he ponders, King Parikshith ponders, and becomes deeply saddened by this entire state of affairs. Do you think that King Parikshith was sad and unhappy that he has only got 7 days to live? No, he was not worried about that. He was worried and he was ashamed of himself, thinking that how I as a king could throw a dead snake around such a great sage. What has happened to me? Whatever I have done is wrong. I need to bear the fruits of my wrongdoing. I need to suffer the ill effects of my wrongdoing. He was not worried that he is going to die the next 7 days. So he was saddened by all this episode, but he was a king who took matters at hand. He called for a council of his ministers. Then he coronated his son Janmejaya, who is another great character of whom we will cover in a separate episode. He coronated Janmejaya and he left, King Parikshith left towards Ganges, where in the middle of Ganges river there was a tower-like structure where he thought he will reside for the next 7 days. And he ensured and he got people from medicine, that is Ayurveda, people who had Mantra Shakti, people who had Tantra Shakti, people who were adepts in doing yoga, yagna, havanas. He surrounded and he threw in a ring of multiple securities around that place where he was residing, so that he thought, Takshaka cannot enter on the 7th day and kill me. And so all these were in place. Yagna yagadis, yagna homas were being done. Medical field professionals were kept in ready, and tantrics were ready, and Brahmins who had mantra shaktis, they were ready to protect the king in case of any bite by the snake, that is Takshaka. When this was the situation, do you think that King Parikshith sat in one corner of the room atop that tower and was brooding, oh, I have got only 7 days to live, 7 days to live? No. He called in great sages and he asked them, what is the best thing to get moksha? Moksha, you should understand, in the Hindu way of thought, is freedom from the cycle of birth and death. Because a soul is born, a soul enters the body, it suffers or enjoys depending upon the karma it does in the previous birth. And this cycle goes on and on unless the person, unless the soul which puts on the grab of a person, human being, voluntarily seeks God and attains self-realization, which is called moksha. Once a soul attains moksha, then he will be freed from the cycle of birth and death and all its attendant happiness and sadness and agony of human birth. So this is moksha. So Parikshith asked all the wise sages, what should be done so that I will get moksha at the end of seventh day? For which a very wise sage, Shukacharya, says, okay, there are 7 days for you. Let me tell the story. Let me repeat the story of Bhagavata Purana. At the end of the 7th day, because you have heard Bhagavata Purana, you will attain moksha. The king says, yes, I think this is a very good idea. And he begins, Shukacharya begins to tell the story or the legend or the Purana of Bhagavatam, that is Sri Krishna. And Parikshith, with all rapt attention, he listens to the episodes till the 7th day. In the meantime, on the 7th day, 7 days have come to pass. The fag end of Bhagavatam is coming to an end. In the meantime, Takshaka, that is the serpent king, starts his journey towards the place where Parikshith is residing in order to bite and kill him that day, as per the curse of the sage Shringi. While he was coming, he meets a Brahmin by name Kashyapa Brahmin. Kashyapa Brahmin is also going along with this Takshaka. Takshaka turns and asks, "O Brahmana, where are you going?" He says, I am going to the kingdom of Parikshith. Why? No, today, as per the curse of sage boy Shringi, Takshaka will bite the king, and I, through my mantra shakti, will revive the king from his death. Takshaka says, "Oh, really? Do you have that power?" "Yes, I do have that power." "Okay, let me tell you, I am that Takshaka. I am going to kill the king today." For which the Brahmana Kashyapa Brahmana most unconcernedly, he says, "Okay, you kill him, I will revive him. No issues, we will go together." For which Takshaka says, "Okay, can I test you that do you really have that power?" "Of course I do have." "Okay, let you see the big banyan," Takshaka says. "You see a very big banyan tree here. In all its glory it has grown." "Yes, I am seeing. If I bite this banyan tree, it will die. Will you be able to revive?" "Yes, of course I will be able to revive," says Kashyapa Brahmana. Then Takshaka, the serpent king, goes and bites the trunk of that big banyan tree. And suddenly, within seconds, the huge banyan tree burns like a fire because of the poison of Takshaka and collapses as ashes. Then he challenges the Kashyapa Brahmana. "Okay, now there is no banyan tree, it is only ashes. So can you revive this?" "Yes, of course I will do." And what did the Kashyapa Brahmana collected all the ashes into a heap, and through his mantra shakti, he revived the king. He revived the tree. And lo behold, there stood the tree as before. The big banyan tree stood as before. Takshaka says, so Takshaka was now convinced that this person has really got the powers to revive the king, even if I bite and the king dies. I have to avoid this. I have to send him away. So he asked that Kashyapa Brahmana, "Why do you want to revive the king? Why do you want to bring back the dead? Why do you want to do that to the king? What is the use for you?" The Brahmana says, "See, I have got that mantra shakti. I want to put it into use. And if I revive the king from his death, from the dead, obviously he is going to give me lot of cows, lot of lands and gold also. I will go and live happily the rest of my days." "Oh, if for that are you going? Okay, I will give you that and much more. You go back, don't come to the kingdom." For which the Kashyapa Brahmana says, "Okay, I agree to your proposal. You give me the gold, cows and land, what king would have given, and much more than that. I will go back." Now, here in Mahabharata, it says, did the Kashyapa Brahmana was really after this material wealth? No, it was not so. Through his yogic powers, he saw that Parikshith had to die today, had to die that evening. So even if he goes there, whatever the curses boy that Shringi has cursed, that had to come to pass. There was no way that could stop. So he said, okay, I will take the gold and cows and land and I will go. And he went. Now Takshaka continues his journey towards where King Parikshit is residing. And there, as soon as he comes near that place, that huge tower in the middle of Ganga river, where King Parikshit is listening to the fag end of the Bhagavata Purana, he is surprised and aghast, and fear comes to his mind. Oh my God, so much of security rings here. I really cannot penetrate. I cannot go inside to bite this. Okay, what should I do? Okay, let me think. And he calls all his brothers and brothers in the sense, since he is the serpent king, he calls all other serpents and the big snakes to him. And he says, see, today I have to, as Takshaka, I have to bite King Parikshit and he has to die. That is the sage curse. Now, if I go and if I, in any form, and if I get caught, then there is no way anybody will be allowed inside. So what I suggest, you serpents, assume the robes of sages and rishis. Take some fruits and flowers and dharma grass from the forest and go inside as sages. Accordingly, since all the snakes, they converted themselves into sages and rishis, and they took some flowers and fruits and dharma grass and entered the kingdom, and they were allowed inside. They went inside. Now, the scene moves back to this, where Parikshit was listening this Bhagavata. So finally the Bhagavata ended. King Parikshit felt very happy. See, even if Takshaka had come and bitten me now, I have no regrets. I have lived my life full. I have heard the story of Bhagavata, and as per the sage Shukacharya, there is moksha for me, there is self-realization for me, there is no rebirth for me. I am very happy, I am contented. If the Takshaka bites, I go as a contented person. He thinks to himself. In the meantime, the time is up. It is 6 o'clock. The time specified by the boy Shringri who gave who has put the curse on him. And the king feels little complacent. Okay, it is almost 6 o'clock. But so far in these 7 days, no serpent came, no harm came, no poison. My food was not poisoned. So I think maybe the curse is not to pass. Maybe the curse will not happen. It will not have. Maybe it will not have effect on me. Maybe because I heard Bhagavatam, I have escaped the jaws of death. He was just thinking. At that time, he got all the fruits, flowers, everything. So he says, okay, since the Takshaka has not come, let us all distribute this fruits and other things which the sages have brought from the forest, and let us relax. And he gave all the persons the fruits which have been brought by the sages from the forest, and he takes one fruit. Having taken one fruit, he just opens the fruit, and there, to his surprise, he finds a very small insect. How that insect is, it has got extremely black eyes and a very red body, and it is just sticking into that fruit. The king picks up that insect, and complacently or with some sort of ego, he thinks in his mind, see, today I should have been bitten by a big serpent, by Takshaka, by the king of serpents. Today I should have been bitten. But what to do? Because of my security, because of my presence of Brahmanas, presence of tantrics, Takshaka didn't come to me. So, at least as a satisfaction to the boy, Shringi, who cursed me, if not being bitten by the snake, let me be bitten by a small insect. And he places that small insect near his neck, which was there in the fruit. He keeps it like this, so that it can bite. And in a way, the king thought, okay, if not the serpent king, at least some small insect has bitten me. Let the boy, Shringi, have that satisfaction. and he placed that small insect on his neck. As soon as he placed, he was expecting the bite to happen any moment. At that time, suddenly the small insect became a huge serpent. It was Takshaka who had come there in the fruit as a small insect. Became a huge snake, and it put the fang in the Raja's neck, injected the poison, and just turned its entire body, sage Parikshith, killing him on the spot. The killing was so powerful that the entire tower in which King Parikshith was residing for the past 7 days burst into flames, and the serpent king, the Naga serpent, who raised to the sky, reached for the heavens after doing its duty. So that ends the story of King Parikshith, who became a victim of a curse, but at the same time he attained moksha because he had heard the Bhagavatam, which we will cover in some other episode. So thanks for watching this episode.